The Mulberry Cultural Center presents Camp Crafts, a look at the creations made while away on summer camp. Today we'll be looking at pinch pots. For this activity, you will need air-dried clay, Mod Podge, paint, metallic paint, some water, a surface that you can get messy, and some paintbrushes. I'm going to take some clay and work it into a ball. I've got my hands moistened so that I can work with the clay because it was pretty dry. Once I've got the ball the size I want, I'm going to put my thumbs right in the middle of it and make a well. Once I've got a deep enough well, then just like the name describes, I'm going to start pinching the clay to create walls of my bowl. As the clay dries, you might want to add more moisture to it, simply by dipping your fingers in water and working through the clay. You want to try and retain the same amount of thickness all the way through, but this is handmade and it won't be perfect, so don't stress about it getting so. If you want a very, very smooth bowl, you should look into throwing clay on a wheel, which is really fun, but not something you probably would have done at camp. So again, I've got a hole there, so I got my fingers wet and just smoothed out the clay. And I have this nice, pretty evenly shaped bowl. Really simple. Now you can stop here, or you can add a little bit of an organic shape to it by pinching the edges almost like you would a pie and creating something more abstract. It's kind of fun to play around and see what the clay might do while still keeping a bowl structure. Remember that we want this vessel to be able to stand, so make sure that your base has enough clay and lay it down on the smooth surface and flatten it out a bit so that it can support itself. When we're done, we're going to set it aside so that it can air dry. This could take overnight up to 2 days. Once it's dry, you can add any kind of paint, but we're going to try a kintsugi method. Kintsugi is a Japanese art form that applies gold lacquer to cracks or broken pieces in its pottery. The idea is that the imperfections become more beautiful and make it stronger. Now I've got these cracks from the pot I made a few days ago. I'm going to add a basic solid color all the way around. Now if my pot's not dry, it's going to moisten the pottery again, and you don't want that. So make sure that you let it totally dry. Getting the cracks from the drying process, I've taken a gold paint and added water to it so that it's a nice dripping consistency. At the top of my crack, I'm adding some paint and letting gravity do its work. It's falling along into the crack itself. I'm going to do this a couple of times so it really builds up some color, and the bits on the side I can go back over with blue paint. I'll repeat this process on all of the cracks all over my bowl, and then I'll hit it with some Mod Podge to give it a glossy coat, which is really just a sealer. Glue and water would work as well. I really like how the gold paint adds dimension against the blue. So there we have our kintsugi inspired pinch pot. This is Chelsea Young. Thanks for watching.